You're watching 59 Minutes, and I'm your host, Nathan Nottingham. And tonight we go deep undercover with an organization committed to stopping mortgage fraud. America is rife with mistrust of the financial industries.
We're in the midst of a serious financial crisis.
Much has been written, much has been said, and much more will be made about this, but what exactly is being done to stop it from happening in the future? As evidenced by the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010, legislation and regulation abound for an industry that led us into a depression. Regulation is brought against all actors, good and bad. So it's true that one bad apple does ruin a bunch. The CFPB, HUD, and the DOJ are all bringing enforcements upon organizations doing harm to Americans and the financial markets. We know they're regulating the large organizations, the bad actors, the big boys. What about the small organizations that pop up in your community? We have found one group who doesn't think the CFPB, HUD, and the DOJ can do all the work necessary to regulate bad actors. So they've taken it upon themselves to investigate those companies. They are a rogue group of passionate compliance professionals who believe more must be done to stop illegal activity. From the outside, they appear to be nothing more than a wannabe bike gang. But on the inside, they are a highly functioning compliant management organization. They do surveillance, secret shops, and even deep undercover stings to stop the small companies that the big enforcements are missing. And their enforcement actions are not like the CFPB, DOJ, or HUD. Their enforcement actions bring painful change to the people doing bad things. They call themselves the Sons of Compliance, and they've given us an exclusive interview to follow them to witness firsthand what they do to help stop this compliance nightmare from happening in your backyard. To set it up, the target company believes that I and the camera crew are doing a documentary on their organization because they are such great performers and such a profitable company. We went in ahead of time and set up some hidden cameras and audio equipment around the office. So go with us as we begin the morning of this sting operation. We catch up with the Sons of Compliance in their hidden club where they're preparing to go take down some bad actors. So what is it you've seen over the last couple of years in the mortgage industry?
The last couple of years been a bit different. CFPB stepped up their game, working harder, getting more people, going after some individuals. Seen a lot of CEOs get busted recently. Seen a lot of money go back to consumers. A lot of money has gone back to consumers. It's been pretty good. Our job has been a lot easier than it was in the past when we had regulators that weren't doing much.
So what is this we hear about the MMC, NKOTB, and the UDAAP?
I think you're talking about UDAP, and NKOTB is a band I was in. The MMC is the Multi-State Mortgage Committee. They've been on fire lately. That is a group of state regulators that have decided to take these people on and go after them as a group. So states get together. They go after bigger companies for things they've been doing wrong. They get it fixed, and they've been fining and settling with a lot of people lately. UDAP is probably our biggest thing we've got going on. That is unfair, deceptive, and abusive acts and practices, and they've been going after that. The thing about that is it's not like a lot of the other laws, where a lot of the other laws have very strict requirements. UDAP is easier to prosecute. It's easier to enforce on. We've seen a lot of that happen, where they go in and they say, hey, this is unfair to consumers, and they go after it, and they fix it. And so we've seen a lot of enforcement around that. I think it's been good.
So how is it that the Sons of Compliance actually work with the DOJ? It seems to me that they actually have their own legal law enforcement. The DOJ seems to be working hard on uncovering crime.
Hey, is this your first time? It's your first time with us, and you're going to say that we're not doing what the DOJ is doing?
I mean, I just thought it'd be interesting to see how your work coincides with the DOJ.
DOJ takes referrals from agencies typically. If there's a problem, they find it, they refer it to the DOJ. DOJ goes in, takes care of business. DOJ's been working hard on False Claims Act cases. It has been False Claims Act case after False Claims Act case. It has been incredible enforcement. There's triple damages with False Claims Act. They've been going after a lot of behavior that we have noted in some of these companies that we look at. That behavior has to be stopped. They use the False Claims Act to do it. What they're looking at this year, which is really interesting, is they're not just looking at, blatant federal law violations. They're looking at how companies have been set up, where they set up to be successful, to be compliant. Is the management doing a good job of managing their people? Sometimes that doesn't happen. That's where the DOJ comes in.
So what are some of the big changes that happened this last year that you will be looking for in this operation?
Big changes this year. We've got HMDA to look at. Real still concerned about fair lending violations out there. I've got a lot of issues around just how do you ask somebody for their race? I mean, how do you do that, right? We've got issues with asking people about their gender, their sex. We've got a bunch of issues around that. We've got a couple other new issues that we've seen, mainly in the just how do you operate your company. So it's a little slow nowadays, where you've got the main federal laws still, but the new ones are definitely something we're paying attention to.
That's enough questions.
I gotta go. Slow it up.